reality is, it happens to anyone. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what your financial status is. It doesn't matter what your socioeconomic status is, your culture is. It doesn't matter what your history is, your background is. For almost 5 years, our daily existence, every minute, every second, was how do we save them?
So after we moved to Texas, things really started to get physical pretty much immediately.
I came here for one purpose only, and that was, to see my granddaughters and my daughter. And then for 4 years here, periodically, to try to save them, maybe, hopefully, save their lives. That was my purpose for being in Kermit, Texas.
The most horrific memory I have was leaving her. That first time, don't leave me, Gibby. Don't leave me, Gibby. Her face, like this, her mouth so wide open, screamed.
It's right there in their face, and they have no way to deny it, because they've been provided the information that's showing that these children they've been traumatized, and they're continuing to be traumatized by being subjected to and in contact with the abuser. Even if the abuse did not happen to them directly, they're still affected by it.
Then I knew he was doing drugs, and that was when the abuse started. Like, taking me to a corner and kicking me and beating me, like that was a sack of sand, spitting on my face. That was the worst one. But he would always say, I know where to hit you so people can see it. He'll say, I know how to get rid of a body and nobody will ever find you. And the whole time I was thinking, Laura, like, I can't die because I don't want her to be with him without me being able to protect her. So that was my thing, and that's probably why I always sheltered them from his abuse.
So a lot of my childhood is very blurred. I can't really remember a lot of the details of the trauma, and I think my mom did a really good job of hiding that from me. But I also didn't really realize that was abuse, or that was not a normal childhood. They talk about trauma in the womb, and they talk about, trauma as a baby, and I think that led to a lot of the trauma that I have now that I see as an adult. The neglect of sorts that leads to a lot of issues in my relationships now as an adult.
It's kind of like sitting in a pot that's slowly, getting hotter and hotter, and you don't really realize it's happening until things just explode. And I find that when I am vulnerable, that's when the worst things happen. Like, anytime I'm vulnerable. Like, if we're all visiting my house, right? Or in another place. And he decides to get drunk, and then insists that we have sex, right? And even if I say no with our kids in the room, it still occurs.
So, what do you think your kids experience?
That I try to shelter them from the experiences that we have, like the interactions we have with each other, but they have seen it. Like, we've gone to stay at people's houses before, like his sisters, where my husband will get drunk and then gaslight, and then I'll lock myself in a room up top with my son, and then when we were going home, my husband threw a tantrum the whole way home, telling me he hates the way I sing, and like things like that in front of our kids, just being very rude and just like
Being abusive.
And now it's like I just sit here waiting with a suitcase full of all my legal documents and a car full of gas and, bank account with $1,000 in it, and I'm just biding my time, watching his patterns of behavior, just waiting to pull that plug and get my kids in front of me. And that's where I'm at right now.
There are certain burdens you do not visit on people of goodwill. When you see the sins of sadists, you will never wash the images from behind your eyes.